So what I'd really like to hear from Andrew and Jennifer is that what's your consciousness regarding love?
Well, love is a tricky one because everybody experiences it differently. I've written some significant concepts on love. What is love? It's a combination of spirit spark, physical spark, and mental spark, and those three sparks start a fire on various levels of existence. The basic layer is the lust layer. As you get beyond the lust layer and you grow up in your mind, you get to the mental layer where you're having companionship or using it for domination or control or any of the things that are in between that. And then on the third layer is the spiritual layer and the higher spiritual layer that leads to the higher self. And that is based off of the spiritual contracts, true loving, and then the concept that this free-willed co-creation that we go through, that's an event that is life. Sometimes you run into people that the outer body sees this wonderful light but doesn't see the person inside. Because that person has spiritual contracts, you think you fall in love with them until you live with them, and all of a sudden they're nothing but their outside's nothing on their inside, and then their inside is even hollower than that, so on and so forth. So when it comes to love, it's about our screwed up spiritual concepts, our spiritual incarnation rules. But life itself, when you want to love, and you truly come from a loving place because you own your talk, you walk your space, and you have boundaries, and you have another person that respects it the same way, you can co-create that heart space in a spiritual concept that completes all of you. And when you choose to do that, you do it because that's what you want in life. Right now, our culture really doesn't allow that to procreate on a big scale. People can't show affection in public, and mothers can't nurse a child in public. There's so many morality and unreal laws that are out there that prevent people from being able to do all of those things that love mean. And it's because much of our sovereignty has been infringed on in many, many ways, shapes, and forms. You know, what I say may sound a little neutral or negative, but unfortunately you have to take the polarity out of everything. That includes love. And, you know, love is one of those things that can lead you to the greatest learning lessons of your life or the greatest failures of your life.
Eliminated duplicate of music.
Hey, Dave, can you mute your mic there?
I'm sorry.
It's all good.
That's okay, but I love the wolves howling when we're talking about them. Perfect.
Can you explain love from the neutral perspective? It is love without expectation or condition. You kind of answered your question there, without expectation or condition. That is the true form. And neutral love also allows for some polarity, because love is always in fluctuation, and love always needs some bit of polarity to keep the chemistry flowing, whether it's a male-female expression of polarity or whether it's a different sexual or sensual or mystical expression of that energy. It still requires the fluctuation of the sine wave into it. So it allows more perception of love on the different dimensions. And then there's love that you have for the different ancestral beings that you know, which is the love at a whole new frequency and scale.
So that, I mean, I always thought that, you know, I did not want to hold her back, and I thought that I might be.
No, you didn't hold her back. When you poured all of your love into her, you allowed her to finish many of her spiritual contracts that were unresolved before she died.
But I was kind of thinking that you know, there is a grieving process, but I did not want to. I was concerned about keeping things of hers around. In other words, I did not want to impede her progress or hold her back in any way. So
you didn't. Within a few hours of her passing, she had already gone to the light and already had her life with you. When I came to my understanding of how the rules of love work, understanding the spiritual concepts, the inner, the above, below, the within, and understanding the 7 directions of energy that come in and out of people that can affect the management of love that people have, I began to understand my purpose and place, and from my sacred neutral perspective, it gives me a non-polarized look at everything here. It doesn't mean that I don't go out and procreate. I very much do. I still love. I still go out there and invest into all sorts of things. But I've chosen to not have polarity and dogmas and concepts that limit myself to one side or the other of polarity. And by choosing to be it in all of its ways, shape, and forms, I walk my talk, my walk, own my pattern, and was able to co-create with it. I was able to create this sacred neutral point of view within myself and then teach it to others. And by relearning love in this manner, I began to love on an even greater scale. To love the people that I haven't even met yet, simply because it is part of my sacred neutral point of view. I've come to know Cindy Brewer on a very intense scale, and she's not part of the wolf pack now. And she was looking for a home, and a home found her. It's the way things work now. Jennifer Hillman has come here, and a home has found her. Tony Pezic has come here, and a home has found him. And all of us are now co-creating something for this home that is Wolf Spirit Radio, and that is our light. And our light will shine and shine and shine until it's a grand omnidirectional shining light in all directions that's saying, here is some truth. If you can't handle the truth, get out of the light. Sit back on the sidelines until you're ready. That's a little harsh for me to say, but some people are ready and some people aren't. You cannot forcefully wake up people. They have to do it on their own. They have to do their own research to know their own truth so that their vibration raises as they understand. The more truth they bring in, the more truth that they create with, the more truth is there for everyone else. It's no longer left on the sidelines of despair and deceit, because we started to hack through the lies and understand that truth is out there, and we are the ones that make truth important. When they make non-truth, they're trying to take the importance of truth away, and we can't let that happen, because when disinformation is believed over real information, you have such skewed points of view that people's polarity will never come together. That is the proof that our society has been under so much domination and control. They've predicted all of our moves and compartmentalize us into such small little things that we can't break out of them. That's the programming. You can break out of it any time. You learn your dreaming rules, learn your love rules, take the opportunity to write down some of your experience, because when it goes from mind to paper, there's a spiritual transference. And from that point, you can build your way out of despair. Build your own ladder out of the pit that you're in. Jen's story and Tony's story, their story of survival, and then turning around from survival to shining great, intenseful light, where they're helping people on a grand scale now. Now I want to talk about our 7 future generations. We hear this frequently. What about the children? What about the children? And then the political concepts are kicked down the road for the next and the next and the next. We are the ones that are responsible for the next generation. We are the ones responsible for the generation after that. We are the ones that are responsible for the 7 future generations. There are times I talk about spiritual contracts, and spiritual contracts reach from one generation to the next generation to the next generation, and we are the ones that bear these contracts, that have the responsibility to deal with them. For those women that are having children, or for those married couples that are adopting, you are taking that responsibility of the future generation, as well as the generation beyond that. When it comes to women, it's about sharing your sisterhood. When it comes to men, it's about sharing brotherhood. And once we learn to share, we quicken the pace at sharing, until finally we are moving at 80 miles an hour in a 50-mile-an-hour zone, and we are heading straight towards that force of domination control to simply say, it's time for you to go. With total layers of empowerment, we talk to the domination control and say, your time is done here. We draw upon our dream worlds and we create that future place so that domination control no longer has anchors. And once we look at those anchors and question those anchors, we have our moments of deep power, that inner power, where we take the joy of freedom and spread it to the all. And when we claim this power, we empower the all. We empower the all, we once again find inner peace. Once we find inner peace, we begin to co-create prayers with everyone. Whatever vehicle, whatever religion, whatever form of spirituality, this is it. here you are. It is your prayers that help define the universe how to change. So if each one on an individual level tells the universe exactly what they want to do to change without concepts and patterns of domination control behind those words, we change the world. Because we give the universe patterns to function with. We give the universe wisdom of our living in this 3D life to work with. And as we go even further, we enter the drum of timing. The drum of timing is a unique concept. As in the very first ice worlds, when the ice mountains came, the first dawn of Earth, man was young. Man ate plants. It did not eat meat at that time. And then great antelope came down out of the mountains, the ice mountains, and came to the first shamans of the land, the first two-leggeds, and said, the coming ice mountains will destroy the plants, and Earth will be going through a great change. Earth wants you to live, and is now my service to you, for you to live. So you will take my flesh, my hide, and you will consume meat and use all forms of my body. And the shamans of the land said, no, we cannot kill you. You are our brothers. You are our sisters on this land. It is not right. And Antelope said to them, it is my service to this world. Take my flesh, it is my service. Take my hide, it is service. Take my hoofs as glue, it is my service to you so you may survive the coming ice mountains. And man did what it was asked to. It took the service. And a man survived the first ice mountain and the second ice mountain. And the first shamans of the first land honored Antelope by making Antelope man clans, where they honored the wisdom of eating the flesh and made sure that nothing was wasted. And this is what the concept that we are returning to. Who's being of service to the world? Who is making the sacrifice to help change? Who is telling the people you can all be one with the world if you simply understand the illusion you're being forced to live in? The first illusion of the first man was to think they could survive without help. Even in the great caves of fire, they did not have the foresight to see there would be no wood to burn, and that their people would starve without the plants. But the animals stepped forward and offered their service. And now we are here to offer our service to all people, all tribes, all nations, all clans under the rainbow. So we can have a unified global culture, a unified global society, a unified concept of Dreamtime that we can give roots to and be honored as we're part of it. As we go through the time of gathering of power, and I mean gathering of power, because it'll take the many of us and not the few of us to gather our power, our strength, our knowledge, our wisdom to truly combat. And I use that word lightly because not everybody will pick up a sword. Some will pick up a pen or a digital document. Others will use their voice. And there will still others that will only see through the violence. But that's fine. We are going through a change and not everyone will get it. But as long as we allow the truth to be our protection, that we are changing this world for the better, the inner omens will come to you about what your purpose here in this world is, what your reason here is, and how you interact with that truth will determine what layers and patterns you see. As the layer and patterns began to expand and expand, truth will be your protection in the face of fake knowledge, fake wisdom. And then there'll be the diversions, the things on TV, the objects in the sky, and the fear that runs rampant. And as fear runs rampant, it'll be people like me or any of the other 54 plus hosts here on this radio station that will battle fear, will battle that concept. So ultimately we can all take truth as our protection and transform ourselves like the butterfly, wrapping ourselves in a cocoon of wisdom and knowledge, love and empowerment, until finally we go through the dark times and come to the light times and simply look back on the past and say, by God, how did we do it? We did it by standing in our truth and owning our shadow and saying, no force of domination and control, you will not own my dream time. I own my dream time. It is my world. You have no presence here and are not wanted, and it's time for you to leave. And when those words resonate deep, we will transform through the cycle of movement. We will understand the shadow as part of us, as part of the whole, until finally, once again, we all return to our inner ceremony and cleanse ourselves of the old times. And as we cleanse ourselves of the old times, we'll once again return to a state of joy. And that state of joy is something everyone wants. Because within joy, it is easier to find true love. You find your soulmates, find your purpose of love that is in this world, how to exchange love on its many levels, how to understand love, and how to share love's wisdom.
Love has many forms of teaching to it, many forms of wisdom to it. But at the current state, we are very young as a species in understanding love, though every generation before has tried to define it, has tried to tell us of its secret schools, but we still keep missing some of it. There is still propaganda. There's still domination and control. And that's one hard fact for people to understand. Love doesn't conquer all in this illusion that we live in. Until we change the illusion that the illusion itself is how love overrides the illusion. Love doesn't need to conquer. Love simply needs to exist. Love doesn't need to have tears or joy or happiness. It simply needs to be love without strings attached. And that's one of the greatest secrets of all mystery schools. Love does not need to conquer. Love just needs to be unity and wholeness achieved. Love just needs to be the grace of how we live life. Love just needs to be illumination and clarity in times of darkness. Love needs to be the wisdom of the Great Spirit high above, respecting the world down below. So the macro and the micro of all species and all beings here can come once again to understanding our nature is to nurture all spirit kind, to nurture all kinds. And here you are, back to nurturing, back to that concept. We must nurture within our own soul, our own concept, our own division and visions, how to be one and be unified.